Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm very excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a review on the new Juvia's Place Tribe palette, which I believe released last week, and I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on the palette, and then we'll do some swatches, and I will also be showing this in comparison with some other Juvia's Place palettes that I own, just in case you're curious about repetitive shades or anything like that. And if you do need this palette in your life, of course using the word need loosely, but I'm really liking this palette. So if you are curious about what's on my face today, I did film 3 looks with one palette using this palette, and it will be up tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you are so that you can stay tuned and see the looks tomorrow if you are interested in seeing how I achieve this, because it was all with this beautiful palette. So if you are not new to my channel, you know I am a sucker for greens. So I was really excited when I saw that Juvia's Place was coming out with this palette. And I'm just gonna throw a spoiler out right now. I think this is my favorite Juvia's Place palette that's ever been released. I am so glad that I got this in my hands. I am really happy with it. So let's just go ahead and jump on into the review. So first of all, this cost $20, which I think is a really affordable price, and they do have affiliate codes available, so you can save 10% off, bringing it down to $18, and then adding whatever your shipping cost is. So I believe my shipping was $4, and I ended up paying $22 and some change for the entire palette. There is 1.14 ounces of product in here, which is definitely a lot. It's a typical 9-pan format for Juvia's Place, and Juvia's is completely cruelty-free. So now let's just go ahead and jump on into the fun part and look inside the palette. So here's what it looks like. Unfortunately, it does have a super reflective palette, which is really pretty unless you're holding it up in a ring light, and it can kind of mess up the way that the colors look, but I guess I'll do my best to kind of tilt it back this way. So there's definitely a mix of finishes in this palette. The top 3 shades are all matte. You've got like a chartreuse, almost a dirty orange, a really bright neon green. And then for the middle row, this shade all the way over here is a beautiful white with a very strong iridescent green duochrome to it. It's just basically a true shimmer shade. These two here are really intense metallic shades. They kind of have like a metallic, almost like glittery finish to them. Really beautiful. This one in the middle, I've seen a few people say that it has like a green shift to it, and I guess I can kind of see like a little bit of a greeny gold undertone, but it's not as magical as it sounds. I mean, it's a beautiful shade, especially if that's something you're drawn to, but it's not like a super apparent green shift in my personal opinion. And then this last shade is really stunning. It's what I have almost all over my lid today. Super glittery. It's kind of like a deep teal shade. So for the bottom row, this first shade here is a really beautiful dirty olive green. I know in the palette and in pictures it looks like just a regular old brown, but trust me, this is such a beautiful surprise. It is absolutely stunning. I went to use this in my first look and I put it in the outer V, and I was like, you know what? I just ended up putting it everywhere because I was so in love with how this shade looked. It is such a unique shade, so beautiful. I love how it works in this palette. I really like that one. And then the next shade is this pretty much true orange shimmer. I would definitely call it a shimmer, not a metallic. It does not have that same like super intense formula as these two here. Unfortunately, I wish it was a little bit more intense. There's nothing wrong with it. It is super pigmented, super smooth. It's a really beautiful shadow, but it's not as intense as the others. So this is really pretty. I wouldn't say it's my favorite shade in the palette. I feel like it's the most I feel like this middle row here is probably the like more ununique shades out of the palette, but they do all seem to work together well, so it's okay, but it's not my favorite shade. And then the last shade in the palette is this really deep matte like emerald shade. It is so beautiful. Not super unique, I feel like, for me personally, because I love greens. I have a lot of shades like this in my collection. Maybe if you don't have as many greens, this would be more unique for you. But I feel like it works really well with the other greens in this palette to deepen up and add more dimension to a look. And I think this shadow, you can definitely build it up, but it does take building. It's not super intense upon impact. So I did find myself having to go in with a few layers to get what I wanted out of this shade, but I do think it's a really beautiful choice for the palette. So now let's just go ahead and do some quick swatches. I say quick, but I'm probably going to sit here and ooh and ah for the next 5 minutes. Just going to go ahead and do like one little swipe in each pan. So here's the first 3. I will give you a warning that a lot of times Juvia's Place shadows do not swatch amazing. especially the matte shades. I find them to swatch kind of sheer, but for me, they always work really well in the eyes, so that's what matters. So just going ahead and dipping into the 3 middle shades real quick. Here's what they look like. The metallic shades always swatch so beautifully. So those are the 3 middle shades there. And last but not least, just going to go ahead and do the 3 bottom shades. Look at that olive. Oh, that one just makes me so happy to look at. So there's the 3 bottom shades. So you can definitely see the sheerness of that teal shade. Like I said, I definitely have to build that up. I'll just go ahead. You can see it on my finger though. I'm just going to do a second layer just to show. See? So here's what all the swatches look like together. I truly feel this is such a beautiful, unique color scheme between the warm tones and the green tones. So I'm really, really loving this. Let's just go ahead and jump on into a few comparisons. So I do own every single Juvia's Place palette, but I feel like the new one, the Tribe, is very unique, so I don't feel the need to sit here and compare every single one to the Tribe because I don't find that many similarities. So I went through my collection off camera and just found a few that might have 1 or 2 shades that I wanted to mention, and also one that I just wanted to share for a certain reason we'll talk about in a minute. So the first one I wanted to mention is the Afrique palette, which just looks like this. So here is what it looks like in comparison with the Tribe. I would say the highlighter yellow shade is much more yellow in the Afrique and much more green in the Tribe. There's also a brighter green, which this one in the Afrique is more of a deeper tone, not super deep, but the one in the Tribe is more neon. So don't find too much repetitiveness there. I also have the original Saharan palette I wanted to mention really quickly just because these both have highlighting shades, but this one has a super blue tone and this one has a super green tone just to give you the difference. There's also this shade right here, Ka, which is like a deeper teal shade, but it's like a shimmer, and this one is 1,000 times more intense, but they are kind of a similar color. And then I did want to mention this in comparison with the Zulu palette because the Zulu does have a few greens in it, but I think it's pretty easy to tell that the greens are very different. Last but not least, I wanted to mention the Douce palette, not because I feel like these are similar at all. In fact, they're very, very different, but I was looking at these two together and I just thought they would be such beautiful, like, best friends. Like, I can just see so many looks with these two palettes together in my head. I don't know, I really, really feel inspired when I look at these two palettes together. Alright, so that's all the comparisons that I have. My final review on the palette is basically just that I really, really enjoy it. I did find some of the matte shades needed a little bit of building up, a little bit of layering, which I don't mind because I feel like the finished look is such a beautiful outcome, and I just die for the metallic formula of Juvia's Place. So I'm really, really happy with my purchase, and if you're kind of trying to decide whether to buy it or not, and it's something you feel like you could get a lot of use out of, I would definitely recommend it. I did want to say really quickly, if my editing is really choppy in this video, my camera keeps stopping recording like every 45 seconds and it's driving me insane. I'm so frustrated. I think I have to get an extreme SD card or something. That's what I looked up and found on YouTube when I was trying to find some tech help because I'm seriously needy in that department. But hopefully the video is helpful nonetheless. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I had the 3 looks with 1 palette coming tomorrow, so I'm really excited about it because I love how all 3 looks turned out, especially this one. I think this is my favorite look I've done in a hot minute. That inner corner really just awoke in my soul. So that's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.